sit back and get comfortable. Relax, because I'm going to pass on to you what I got from Spirit this morning around 6 a.m. I tentatively had like a little outline of what I was going to talk about, and sometimes I adapt, improvise, and overcome that, and scratch it out and reprint something else. But basically, my theme today, and it wasn't really my theme, I asked them, what am I supposed to bring to these people today? What words do you have to pass on to these people that have come here in your presence and look for some type of encouragement? Well, I Googled the 3 wise men and they were busy. They've got other obligations throughout the world. I did hustle up some frankincense and burn that earlier. So I tried to, you try to call upon the wise ones, step in with me and just fill me with these words of divine prophecy and healing and whatever the people need. So I sat there, and usually I will channel and type it all out and read it, but it actually seemed to be much more simple than that this morning. Their focus today is obviously on what's going on in the world all around us. And their main goal, their main preface they put out in front of me was remind them. And I said, okay, remind them of what? Okay. I remember speaking at the start of this year. And I said, well, maybe I should bring that paperwork in today. But they said, no, you don't have to do that. What I spoke about in January, at the start of this year, I do remember, was Spirit telling us this year, do all things and speak of all things with an open and loving heart. They kept reiterating that throughout the talk back in January, that this was going to be a turbulent year, and we were going to need all the compassion, all the guidance, all the inspiration, all the encouragement that we could get. And they said, remind them, remind them. This has been a struggle for so many people, so many people. Some of us have been directly affected by this. Some we view from the outskirts. We keep our distance. We watch the news. We've reminded everyone that comes in here, don't dwell on the negative aspects of this, the hurt, the pain that it's caused. Let it be a lesson. Let it be a learning tool, something that you take from this and go on, because we will. And the earth goes on. The earth heals. We heal. But Spirit is reminding us like we always say, look around you. Look around you. Look to your left, look to your right. Compassion. Compassion is needed. There are so many people that are hurting. This has had such a tremendous, painful ripple effect throughout our country especially. There are people right in your community that have suffered serious repercussions from all of this. I live in a different county. I live in Brevard County. And I have seen so much change. I have seen the best. I have chosen to see the best in people. There's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be hurt caused by your fellow men and women. But I have chosen to take a different route. Our community has decided to help our brothers and sisters. There are so many that have lost their homes, families, they have lost their homes. They and their children and their dogs, their pets, are actually living in woods right now, this time of year, with heat and bugs and just despair. It's like they've lost all hope. And some of us from the outskirts, that it has not infected in such a way. We sit safely in our homes with our AC blowing, plenty of food on the table, plenty of excess. I bring the produce here from Brevard County almost every weekend. There's quite a bit. There are food drops distribution points in Brevard County, throughout the county. And this has come about as a donation primarily from Publix. Walmart participates as well, but Publix has chosen to buy all the Florida farmers' excess produce and donate it to Second Harvest. Now, I get it, it's a tax write-off, and you know, Publix has obviously, it's been in the news, made over $2.5 billion during this time period. But at the same time, if they don't do that, those foods rot in the fields. So this has been a blessing. I know other counties throughout Florida do the same. But what I'm getting at is we are aware of our brothers and sisters and furry friends that have been displaced. And we have made it a point in that county to get out there and distribute hot meals at least 2 or 3 times a week. I participate in a group that goes out on Sunday mornings and feeds people breakfast in Titusville, Port St. John, and Cocoa. They go out to the camps where they know people have gathered, living in the woods, and they bring them a hot breakfast, cold drinks, fruits, milk, to see that people are fed. And it's not just the food being fed, it's the spirituality of it as well. They're being fed because they're out there letting them know that they haven't been forgotten. They're not being pushed to the side as outcasts, that they've done something wrong and they're to be punished. No, it's not that at all. And who would we be to judge them anyway? So I know everyone, I believe in their heart here, does have compassion to some form or degree. There have been times where we have gathered items in our vestibule. We do have a bin out there. So I'm going to ask on behalf of the church if perhaps when you come in the future, if you would drop something in the bin. We try to provide hygiene items for these families as well. Toothbrushes, toothpaste, wipes, all kinds of things, bug spray, just the things that you just can't imagine. The people tell us that they're literally being eaten out there this time of year. The storms in the afternoon are horrific for these people living out in the elements. There's so much going on that people on the outskirts aren't seeing. But if anyone could find it in their heart to do that, it would be a blessing to these people. I'm going to tell you, they're so appreciative when you bring them food, a cold drink. Some have nothing. I know of people living out in the woods that have lost their jobs. They have nowhere to go. The shelters won't take any more people because of the COVID restrictions. I know people that are living in the woods and they don't even have a sheet or a blanket or anything. They're just sitting out there in the rain, in the woods. I know I'm not trying to upset anyone. I'm not trying to make anyone feel guilty. No, not at all. I'm passing Spirit's message on to you. Remind them. That's what they kept saying to me. Remind them of what's around them. Remind them of what we talked about at the beginning of the year. Look at those with an open and loving heart. Always speak with an open and loving heart. Because most of us here are truly blessed, whether you realize it or not. Most of you have been truly blessed. So, I believe, as a spiritualist, it is our responsibility to help those around us, to be aware of others and their needs, especially their primary needs for food and shelter, and to know that God, Infinite Spirit, has not forgotten them, and they work through us at this time. So I'd like to read something to you, and take it to heart, because I have found living my life and not just talking about spiritualism, striving to live by that. This is called, and I know a lot of you probably are familiar with it, it's called The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. So, I ask that you look at the roads. This one might not be the popular road. It's the road less traveled by. Because not everyone will step off of that safe, well-manicured path and go this other way, where it might not be so pretty. It might not be as pleasant. But still comes truly with the greatest reward. Think about that when you're home today. Thank the Lord for your blessings. But like Spirit said, remind them of compassion and why you're really here in service to others. So thank you for your time listening today.